All right, everyone. This is Sharon with Conscious Sharon and Self-Care for Black Men. And one of the things that I'm doing is highlighting individuals who have practices or business and things related to self-care. And today we have Andrea, and she is a spiritual companion. But before we get started, one of the things that I like to do is to sit in silence. And basically, that's because a lot of time we're busy. And like now we're in this quarantine because of the crisis that the world is in. And we have a lot of things on our mind. And it's just allow us to be in the present moment. So let's just take a few breaths, and we're just going to do 5 breaths. And let's just sit in a comfortable position. Align your back, relax your shoulders, gaze down. And let's just take 5 breaths. Just slowly inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And whenever you reach 5, just gently and slowly return your attention back to the surface. And gently open your eyes. And again, I just like to do that just to kind of allow us to be in the present moment. Well, again, I have Andrea with us, and she's going to talk about spiritual companion. And before we get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I am Andrea Metz Nicholson with Soul Friend Spiritual Companion. It's a practice where I companion you on your journey, whatever journey you may be on, where just to let you know that someone is there with you. Mostly those are seeking a more mindful journey, drawing a more personal relationship with whomever they higher beings may be, and also having questions of where the higher being may be working in their lives. For me, my higher being is God. And many times as we go through things, I wonder, well, where was God doing these things? And what I found was that having someone to voice what I was feeling to, just to get it out, that more times than not, the answers are within you. It's just where we don't recognize our higher power, where they are working with us at. And also sometimes just to hold space for those who just need someone to listen, no questions asked, just holding that space. And also being trained to ask the questions that will help them dig a little deeper.
Okay. And so, what led you to become a spiritual companion?
Well, I always knew that it was something else, as I began my spiritual journey. I knew it was something else, but I just couldn't find the word for it. I didn't even know what the question was, but I knew it was something more. So I began researching, and I was just putting in the Google bar spirituality. And actually, I was looking for classes, um, just more information basically. And so this one particular item kept popping up. It is called the Charlotte Spirituality Center. I did not look at it, I just kept over bypassing that. That wasn't looking for anything long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually really was looking for something free or that costs little. Um, but one particular day, the Holy Spirit just said, "You need to look at this." And I looked at it, and it explained what their program was about. It explained that their program had manifest from Carolina's Medical Center through the chaplains, um, who felt that even though we pray for people,
Mm-hmm.
we need to offer them something else. That offering something else is our ear, our heart, just to listen,
Mm-hmm.
where they can say what they need to say. So, just from my researching and more reading through their information, I sent a text, email, something, and requested that they did not contact me. Just send me the information. I didn't want to feel um, rushed in it or anything. And so they did. They honored my wishes and everything. And the information that I got, I was very excited and was like, well, maybe this is something that I'm looking for. And I made an appointment to meet with the director there. And before I left, when I first walked into the door, it was just I just felt like I belonged there. Um, so before I left, after learning everything, I had signed up for the class, which is a 3-year program, and it's called Spiritual Direction, which is a 3-year program, and we would meet all day on a Saturday, um, and learn. Because in all actuality, you don't learn spirituality,
Yeah.
something that you just kind of grow in, but um, I learned how to listen. I
Yeah.
learned how to ask the questions instead of just the plain yes or no questions. And I also learned that many of us, and when I say many of us, I'm talking about Black people,
Mm-hmm.
um, have no clue as to what a spiritual director is or does.
Yeah.
And so that right there, it has helped me. So I just wanted to offer it to others.
Wow. And just by you talking about that, I just learned so much because I had no idea that Carolina Medical System, I guess you could say this is where it, came from.
Yes.
And yeah, the other thing I like to tell people too, because you were saying that praying wasn't enough, that people need a listening ear. And I'm so glad you said that because, like, for myself, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the mental health field for a long time. And I've seen a lot of things. I've worked in so many different areas. And once I got into holistic things such as meditation, yoga, Reiki, life coaching, and things like that, it has changed how I look at mental health,
Right.
period.
Yes.
And it also led me to, is part of it, there are other things that led me to being a self-care advocate. That's what I consider myself now, and this is the role that I'm going towards. And so in saying that, I tell people self-care is before, during, and after therapy. Because even though people can go to therapy and people can pray, but there are some things that are missing, and there are some tools that people can have themselves. And just like you said, the answer is within us.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like, what do people do in between sessions? What about people who aren't going to go and it may not even need to go?
Right.
You know? And we all need a listening ear, because we've all had those friends, and we've probably done it ourselves, where we call somebody and say, "Oh, I got this going on," or even the friend said, and I hear other people say it, it's like, "Yeah, they called me, and I didn't even tell them anything, and they said they didn't even wait for me to give them an advice. They said they didn't need my help." But that's because there's something magical about talking it out.
It really
About,
is.
yeah, it's almost like as you're talking, you're figuring it out yourself. The answers come. You have those aha moments, those insight, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, it's really wonderful. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate you, offering this and letting us know about this. And so, in saying that, like, what have people said for people who have come to you or people that you've known to experience, just in general, like after they experience this, in general, what have they said about it?
Well, many times when people come, they have, they never have had it. They
Mm-hmm.
never have participated in it. And of course, we are not therapists,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but in my opinion, feels once it just feels like a therapy session just by the clients coming and just talking, just getting them out, because we don't offer any advice or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's therapeutic. It's
Yeah,
therapeutic.
therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Not therapy, but therapeutic. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So what I found is um, that they felt free, like they felt
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was. And a lot of times they come just to see what it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. I don't have anything to talk about. But in that interim, you're talking,
Mm-hmm.
and by the talking, whatever it is that's down in there
Mm-hmm.
that's needing to come up, but sometimes we continue to push it down. But just in that talking in a safe space, just being with someone who genuinely cares and are there for you at that moment, um that you can just see the lightness of it when it's over. And you can you can actually see when the light bulb moment goes off
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
Talking about, and they be like, "Man, I knew that. Oh, God, yes." So they are very satisfied and happy, and that makes me happy that I was used to help bring somebody clarity, or just a sense of mind, sense of peace, that type things. And sometimes it takes coming back and coming back just to get um, what it is they are seeking, or what's in there that needs to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because once something comes up, many times it's something else that's connected to that. So just
Exactly.
talking that out, far as just sitting with your feelings,
Hmm.
because it's a lot of silence.
Hmm.
We have to get comfortable with the silence because
Yeah.
that's what we hear. So yeah, I'm am just so grateful that I'm able to offer that.
Oh, good, good. And one thing I like to add too, in that there are people who do push their feelings or emotions down. And then
Yeah.
also there are people who may not even realize, like on a subconscious level, that they need to express it. And so I would just say to people, just come to you or anybody else just to have somebody to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't even know what's going on. Because I've discovered within myself that there are wounds, unresolved issues, and unfinished business that we don't even know.
That's
We don't
correct.
even know. And they are connected to our childhood or earlier experiences. It may not always be something traumatic, it just could be where somebody chastised us and we didn't like it, or our feelings got hurt, or something that
Mm-hmm.
we interpreted in a negative way. And for some people, it is, unfortunately, traumatic events, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to abuse and neglect or anything like that. And so, I would definitely encourage people to come to you or anyone else. The other thing I like to add is that I have used that service with you, and I really appreciate that. And before we got on, I was saying, yeah, I need to do it again. And my main purpose of doing it is that even though I'm in the mental health field, and I am a feeling person. But one thing that I know, like I can talk to people, but I always say I can talk about everything under the sun except for my feelings, even though I'm a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's
and
correct.
and so we all just and it's not that I just need to empty out, you know,
That's right.
that's basically for me, because I do have I'm in my mind a lot too, because I'm an introvert, and I think as introverts that's just kind of how we're wired like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would definitely encourage you don't have to be introvert, but really everybody, but especially introverts, to definitely unload and unpack. And definitely men, men suffer in silence, and I know it has a
Mm-hmm.
lot to do with society things, but definitely encourage men to come and see you or come and see someone just to
Release, unpack.
release.
Unpack is a very good word,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what we will be doing is just unpacking, and
yeah,
again, that word therapeutic, it is very therapeutic.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I
yeah.
know, oh, I'm sorry, were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, okay. And I was about to say, by me being, in the mental health field, and I know sometimes with the traditional mental health, it's changing some, but traditionally with mental health, when it comes to yoga and meditation, when it comes to um, anything other than therapy, there are some individuals who is like, where it's not therapy, that people just need that. And I've always felt like there was something missing and I didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
it was. And I feel like with everything out there that we all need different aspects. And then when we are connected with ourselves, such as when we're able to unpack, we can recognize I do need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I
And
do. I
so
do.
these other things allow us to recognize that, because when we keep things inside, we don't think, quote unquote, where we think everything is okay. I mean, even though we can function in society okay, but then sometimes things can, kind of, sometimes it can be hard to keep the lid on. And
Mm-hmm.
especially like what's going on now in the world. with the
Mhm.
quarantine, with the virus and everything. I know people have a lot going on, a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear. And it's not, I put it like this: all of this stuff is out of our control, and we can only control what we can, and that's
That's right.
being, safe and healthy. And part of being healthy is to unpack, because it's not
Mhm.
good to have um, any feelings just stuck inside, and
That's right.
also to focus on the negative aspects. You acknowledge it, you experience it, but not to allow that to be, like the main focus, because the way that the mind kind of works, it will feed off of that, and it will keep looking for, whatever that is.
That's right.
And you won't be able to be creative and to restructure as we continue to move on. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, again, I really appreciate you and what you do, and you have
Well,
like
thank
a
you.
wonderful spirit, and I love
Thank
your smile
thank
and all
you.
of that stuff.
And
Um,
and I work with all faiths, very interfaith, no faith, you know, turn no one away. Yeah, so I just want to put that out there also. Everyone is welcome.
okay,
Everyone, regardless of what your beliefs are.
good, good. And are there any frequently asked questions that you can think of that people may have that may not have been discussed during our discussion?
Well, the one major question that they always ask is what you asked is how did I get started in it?
Okay, all right.
Um, and another one is, well, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
You don't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
you just sit and we'll just chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as coming in with someone who you just meeting or anything, they have questions. I can kind of just feel the questions,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to ask them or anything like that. So there are questions, but it's just that time that it takes to get to, for lack of a better word, break the ice, and
Mm-hmm.
um, more so at the beginning want to know more about me. And I share some, but I also have to let them know that this is their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your time. Yes.
Yeah. And pretty much when it comes to that, I my premise on that is that no one never taught us to truly sit with ourselves. So it's
Mhm.
hard for us to sit with others. And it's uncomfortable when we're in that seat.
Mhm.
And this is especially now even more important for all of us, again,
Yes.
to be quiet and to be in silence and to just listen.
Yeah.
And so with what's going on, and I know you offer this anyway, how can people get in touch with you?
Okay. My email is Andrea Nicholson, the number 2 at yahoo.com. AndreaNicolson, the number 2 at yahoo.com. My number is 980-206-0588. And also, welcome to go to my Facebook page, Spiritual Companionship, and information is on there also.
Okay. Well, again, I really appreciate you joining me on this self-care moment to allow people to learn what you're doing.
Thank you for having me, Sharon.
Oh, you are so welcome.